Well, Admiral, like I said, I figured because I did this one from you the first time. I took on Stoker from the angle of it. He's a bored first sergeant on AR 600-20, being the index that I use for something like this, being AR PAW 600 to the output of the Sharps case on it. So what happens is, again, he should have never. There's a first sergeant disciplinary action AR-15 protocol. It's dry. It's missionary. Salty doesn't get to necessarily decide what the trajectory is when it's supposed to be a specific index of non-judicial punishment in terms of what peers are, who's supposed to be in charge of those demographics, and when and where those things popped up. Now, numbers of mentions of electromagnetism work like numbers of mentions of Article 15s for a certain soldier based on the review of what comes in from a spring and whether something really happened or not. It's like, did that happen? Well, on the heart rate monitor, Tan and Kosi can't hear to whatever program you got dialed in.
It looks like we have a liar on our hands that likes to post
we're
only
not
bits
arguing
of
that.
TikTok
I'm not
to
arguing
make
that.
a DOD
Remember,
employee
we're not
look bad, but there's
we're
a
not
major update. We
instigating
only
that the
heard
private
one
did
side of
something
the
right
story,
if
and it
something
looks
come
like
up.
we
And remember
finally
what I
have
said
the other
was,
side.
if it
It's
goes
very
through
unfortunate because
the
this
secret
bait
or
has come with
the
over 3
sequence of
million
what that
views
is,
on
this
this
would be
TikTok,
through the
which I will
proper
replay again right
person
here.
who's supposed to do it. And I know it is, because that's the American law and those standards about freedoms of looking through lensing topologies of differentials on the system. Call it in, get the camera out, explain the case on the system, make sure it's captured in the function. This is not how we handle the situation. Not his private is the general system inside of what this is. Nobody knows how to handle that because it's not necessarily the right answer, but it is the right answer. Within the index, you'd still be right to say some law on this would believe the president's is intent inside of things. It's intent's a bad transformation, but
and they tried to piece together the video as much as possible while getting angry
really
at
you
him.
pick
And then
apart
the
Bernoulli's
people that
inside
said
of
you
there.
didn't know
It's
what
like you're both
happened before or
binary.
after
One of you
this,
Schroeder,
said context did
the
not
devil,
matter.
Okay, so
Gunny
somebody's
wife,
gonna come in this
dildo,
and
getting
say,
her
well,
soft
what
or hard.
happened
The
before?
soft one, the hard
What
one.
happened before? Shut up. Here's the thing that you guys forget. It doesn't matter what happened
Doesn't matter.
before.
See, Nikki, you're
As
gonna
a
just clip
person
that
on
out
this
if I
channel
gotta see
does
that
like
whole
to call
index.
myself Military TMZ, I will say
You
that
just
there is some
showed
accuracy in
then what the
reporting
Sharps
that I would like
case
to take honor in
is
providing to you.
in-
I will also
well,
give the
there's some
context
more.
here of what that member said on a following TikTok before this was cleared up.
This would be cleared up. Square here. I'd have to ask the index. Well, I thought it was her. I was talking about her. Because that board case would be the question. What happened here to the differential, up or down? Yes or no on those things. So this is, I'm being biased because it sounds like the plot twist was already in the definition of the heading before you read the information to make sure that these two things are congruent between this vector location and this vector location. So in topology of setting it up like that,
guy in the uniform, I guess.
like I said, it's still his, if he's a private, where is the lodge for the circuitry inside here for the operating limit on what that is? If I get more cases of mentions of this stuff happening, then it's a certain area where COVID level in the curve on a black body radiation problem. And that's not a racial statement, that's just math. That's where the particle is, that's what the heading is on that is. If I said it was this, and an investigation, and they're like, yes, well, that's a limit. That's a bump on the system under the sheets, a monster under the sheets, or whatever. It clown under your bed.
Which now I'm getting mad at the original poster of this TikTok.
Because I get mad at law across the board. See, now against the district attorney and something, I've seen cases where there's corruption at the case line of getting somebody that they don't like. There's a lot of power and influence decided by positions that gives you a resume, not command over this person. Now that differential would be, the incident report may not necessarily be a full-on incident report, but I still have to get your opinion on a compressed data string on what that'll correlate to heartbeat monitors later, because justice is blind. It's,
so he has been in 17 years.
There's nothing wrong with topology, but if you say it's coming from this way of it, it's got a way out that way with Pharaoh on the right here, and you coming up on that about right hand rule at the time.
So I have to give
this
him
would
credit.
go.
Did Nikki eat
it's
his foot
just
a little
heavy.
bit with his inflammatory remarks saying the tattoos looks
If
like
I
a
knew
bad
that
piece
CT
of
Paradox
artwork,
is
and
lefty,
it got done right outside of base,
or
and
what that base correlates
Who
to.
knows? Yes, but I'm another military guy ragging on another military
Police
guy.
officer.
I would
Well,
say
you look at that
that's
right
just
there. Who's your
banter
superior
back and
officer? I need
forth,
their
but
number. What's
he
your
didn't
badge
like that,
number?
but it's okay.
I need to be able to
I
call that
cleared
in
that
some
up by
way.
saying,
I build
when
that.
I make
I was like,
comments on
oh,
here,
so that's how you
it's
take it.
usually in
Yes,
jest.
because
It's
that
usually
would
with
be
a little bit of
the infraction
sarcasm
under
that
the
goes
standards
with that.
where
And I think
triggers
you guys
off sarge
appreciate
to
it.
get involved.
Next off,
But
you're
that is that
asking about
cops.
the
Well,
beard.
he's
He has
disrespecting you. That's a
clarified that
harassment
he is
case
the
and calling the
first
cops.
drill sergeant
Thin
that has
green
been
line along
authorized
with the
to
thin
have
blue
a
line.
beard. And on top of
And
that,
private
there's some
source
more
system
information
inside of
that's
how
very
you handle the
scary that
energy
kind of makes
patent
sense
to blow up
why
tanks.
This poster would
No,
have done
you
this.
could get them to
This
jump the
video
battlefield.
was actually from over a
But
year
sometimes
ago.
this stuff
So
has
I
bad
did make
index
the
of
remarks
not
about
how we'd like to
COVID,
handle the
is not
situation
wearing a
out
mask.
of.
On top of that, in this kid's
They're
face,
salty,
not
hammering
social
them.
distancing like
Correct
you should.
answer after
That
action
is
report
one
showed
big
on
no-no.
camera of a
Under
disciplinary
the
action of the
observation
proper
of when it
function
was posted
that
and the
readjusts and
regulations
normalizes.
that
Say,
recently
we
just
square now.
changed,
I smoked it.
that video
So
was
you don't need to
truly
be all
outdated,
Hatfield and
during
McCoy
the
about
time of that
certain things.
filming,
And
he is saying it was authorized to not have a mask during that period if they were outside, which would make total sense. On top of that, this video was actually part of an investigation that was brought against this drill sergeant, and he was cleared of all charges after this.
Thin
So
green line.
it's already been addressed. It's just been now recently posted. That history kind of is going to make sense very soon. Why would somebody post something so late, a year later? We'll find out. Now, the drill sergeant does say that in the investigation that
Done
there
it.
were statements made by both of these soldiers, the
As well as
private
quantum
that is
time.
being seen
Keeps
in the video,
this
also
from-
by the person filming, where they both annotated that they knew he was
if you
a
listen to
drill
it, I'd
sergeant.
hear it too. I'm like, in the case, Your Honor, he's actually saying, was that a harassment case? No. And what he's doing is actually a legal concept on, well, legal eagle to the bull, the lion, inside here, any eagle or mask wearer principles, into war, famine, pestilence, and death, conquest being pestilence, famine being something else nowadays. So I just call that the wobbles. And you'd say, well, so big and old and young, experienced, non-experienced are congruent with each other in the pipes. And so if you go back to his earlier models, we'll stay tuned with this, became another adjustment of what we understand the physics to be, would certainly have the trajectory of at least this, or potentially something different. As long as that index was presented there, it becomes a congruent quantum operator on standardizing
Now let's just talk
the
about this for a second.
timelines of
You're new
causal
to the
systems.
military, right?
Well,
And you understand
well,
that
you are
the person that
controlling it
you
before
see
it
is the
gets so
only
far
drill
out.
sergeant with the
Forecasting.
beard. You're probably going to remember this guy is that drill sergeant with a beard. Now you're asking, are they in boot
Gets
camp?
to be
Not
you.
boot camp. How was that? So according to this drill sergeant,
I've had
he's
rules
saying
about
they
that.
were
Hey,
actually
just
permanent
because some big
staff
guy
on
comes
the
over to me and I have
base,
rules
which
from
they were
Sam that
known
tells me
that
not
they
to
had
wear a mask
wear
or
their
I don't
gloves
have
tops,
to.
which that was
That's
a
the
normal
freedoms
order to
inside
have.
here.
Don't
Not many
wear your gloves
choices,
top
but the
because
choices
we're
you
in a
have
training
have
environment.
to be
You just
fought.
set the
Because then
example.
you're
This
just
is
smoking
like a
some bunny
regular
that's doing the
Army command.
rules.
We're
It's
looking
like, because
to
you're
set the
bigger in that
example
lunch
for
line
these
video, movie
people
clip
that
that
are going
pops
through
up
boot
because
camp.
you think
The
you just
context,
smash
we
a
were
bunny
right,
for no
it
reason in
was
lunch
during
line.
a food serving time period. As that member came back and he said you did not see this in the video.
If I did that to a
According his
jury,
recollection
and you were
of
there
events
for a
was he
harassment
said,
case.
I wish a mother would. That is what hyped him up so much. He ended up
It's
coming down
because
and getting
it's our
the
legal
LG
presidents in
involved. It was
Afghanistan.
invited to talk with a soldier. Nothing ever
Why do we
happened
waste
to
taxes
that
over there?
soldier in the video or to this drill sergeant. Getting to the scrubs portion of this.
Because we wouldn't
He does
want
explain
somebody
the
doing
reason why they
that
were in scrubs were
and a
all
standard
staff
where it's
members
against the
there
rules
were
do
wearing
it of
scrubs
rules of
because
engagement.
the
Those
COVID-19
fields, those
mitigation,
systems,
which is why they were not
which
wearing their
are
regular uniform.
in
That way they
engagement.
could
There's
take
a
them off,
standard about
wash
what
them,
the
and not
rules are,
worry
which
about
didn't
getting
require
any
you to
chance of that
initiate the law
spreading
behind
home
that
or
system.
whatever else,
And I'd
as
like to give it
those
to the
things might
salties
be
because
soiled.
it still
So
solves
I
the
was like,
problem
okay,
with
this
keeping
piece
them
of the puzzle
salty
started
and
to come
covering a D
together
for them.
more and
Don't
more.
do this
Now,
legend.
it looks like that drill sergeant that has talked about the situation with myself has also said that these military members have now
You don't have time to
discharged
argue
from
with
the
somebody. Respect
military,
me, you would
which
be dead.
Makes sense why they waited so long to have these posts. Because if they posted them while they were active duty, imagine the kind of heat they would get.
Then you're this
And
close to
I
about a
will say,
COVID on mask
also go to the
situation.
TikToks and come
CDC.
back a
I
little
mean,
bit
like,
further,
Petri dish,
this
you're just going to
actually
go
does
ahead
add
and
up
grab
make
a
sense.
cobra like that?
Strike number one here, we see a TikTok of him dancing around in a massive house with a bunch of money. It looks like he
Nothing
has a
wrong with
little
that.
bit of a goatee type thing going on
Could've
as
gotten
well.
in-house
I'm
systems,
like, A,
freedoms.
that's not a barracks term, and I know that you were in the Army. Second, you definitely aren't making that much in the military. Third
AR-15-0-1
off,
can be grabbed.
it
Is
just,
that
it
housing?
doesn't make sense
Is
in the
that
picture.
lieutenant?
Now, on top of that, you then even go back
dependents,
further on the TikTok, even just
their
1
exes.
week, and I'm like, wait, he's got an Army uniform in one of these doing
Husbandry.
pull-ups. And then I
The
look
boat.
at it, I'm like, there's snow on the ground. It is August right now. And
That
posting
snake's could take another
TikToks
day before I
that
feed
were
it
a week
husbandry.
ago. That sounds like
This one
is
could do a
old
few more
video.
pumps
He's
on
just
this one.
reconjuring up to post on TikTok to get views. So when I look at this, I'm like, it makes sense that he would have been out of the military right now, and this story actually does add up. He could have corrected that this was not a DoD employee in his original statement. Maybe that was an error, right? But he continues to try and gain traction and momentum in the comments of the original post saying this.
Sociopaths
Storytime
are-
posted with an emoji, and
That's
that
the
was
kind
on
of thing that it
8/5.
keys
Then a
off
user
doing
says,
their
bro, hurry up
physics.
with part 2 and tag
Well, what
me.
are you catching?
Jordan then responds, what do
Nikki,
you guys think? Is the DoD
Nephilim
civilian
on
in the
sociopath.
wrong?
One way or
Short
another,
time
I would
post as well.
tag them both. Like I
Hashtag
said, I
for
didn't
you,
give
hashtag
anybody an out
explore,
on this,
hashtag
even
viral,
Nikki.
Hashtag trend, hashtag military,
You make
hashtag
3 or
FYP
4.
for you
T.
page.
You know, that's the
He is trying to gain momentum on this and get some kind
bar,
of
the
clout,
bar.
even if it's 15 minutes of fame, which I'm like, this is just realizing this blew up on him, and now he's like, let me garner this attention. Jordan then says, and then it's like us junior enlisted are the bad guys and not showing no respect when this is how they come at us. This just didn't
Dumbing
make
down,
sense. When
do
you
my
look
thing.
at
I'm not
the
doing
part
something
1,
you like,
part 2,
cops
part
come
3,
in
I
and
was
call you. It's like,
skeptical already because a lot of this doesn't make
Let's
sense
talk.
because there are
Let's do it on camera,
different
where
videos that
I
are
can
all
post
very
it on the
chopped up,
internet, not
and
just
I'm like, I don't know
be
what
in the
to do.
courthouse.
Because if I was rolling, record. Why is
Record.
it split into 3 different parts?
Well,
That doesn't
because
make
they
sense to
don't,
me.
because they
So,
were
I'm
arrested,
gonna
and they're
leave
not
the
gonna want. They're gonna do
skepticism up to
everything
you
they
guys
can
see
to
what you guys
possibly.
think.
I'm fair with
After
it. You
hearing
do what you
I've
got to do.
heard from the
Timeline.
original
We are
source
good.
On the other side of this video, I'd love to know what you guys think.
No.
If this is all a line
Well, they do
fallacy, I'm
cops
very
stuff. You got
upset at the
Chicago
original
PD
post
out
because
here,
I'm
crime
gonna
scene
say this,
investigator
as a
stuff,
person that's
from all
a
kinds
junior
of
person that has
cops
something
on
to
duty,
gain as far as
POVs,
internet
interrogation
clout and nothing to
chambers,
lose with regard to rank or
prison
anything like that,
in the box,
I would be
and
like,
for 60
okay, I
days,
can see
but
that
it's
motive.
there's different
And I
M1
look
and
at this
M2s. It's
guy,
not
the
just
other
that.
guy
And
that
for
actually
60
has
days, man, you're
everything to
locked
lose
in
that's
there for
been
60
silent
days.
for the most part, besides talking to me, has literally served 17 years, 5 combat deployments as an infantry dude. I'm probably going to side
Not
with
much.
that guy.
Just
of
a
some
little bit,
integrity
enough
when
to
it
know
comes
that
to
that
some
is
kind
his
of like,
reason.
it
I'd
leaves a
use
lot
it for
more
early
questions,
index training. It's
but
like
I'd
you've
love to
been
know what you guys
arrested
think down in the
before.
comments below. If you
So you know
support
the
this channel,
psych
you can always
thesis
go over to
before. Of course they
patreon.com
don't know
down
the
in
damn
description
psych
below
thesis.
for
None
special
of them
perks
been
and benefits.
programmed
On
that,
top
but I
of that,
can
we
go
also
through a
have
lot.
a YouTube
Yeah,
video
sitting
video
down
where
there
you can
playing
get some special
spades and
benefits
wild card
here on
poker
YouTube
for
as well. As always, if you
commissary
guys have
and
questions
switching
about
off
this or anything else,
lunches and
you
just
can hit me up on
making
Instagram,
making
Snapchat,
it
Twitter,
work.
down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.
Catch you on
Too
that.
bad we smoked it all.